I do not think the affair was the worst part anymore. People always assume that's the moment that breaks you, walking in on your husband with another woman. They imagine screaming, throwing things, dramatic exits. I did not do any of that. I just stood there holding a paper gift bag with a tiny pair of baby socks inside it and realized I had been living in someone else's version of my marriage. If you had asked me that morning where my life was headed, I would have told you I was about to have everything I would worked toward since I was 18. Instead, by dinner, I was planning a divorce. I know that sounds dramatic, but if you stay with me, you will understand why there was never really another option. For context, I am 28, or at least I was when all this happened. My husband, well, ex-husband Noah's the same age. We had been together since freshman year of college. We were one of those couples people assumed would last forever because we would never really broken up, never played games, never had one of those on-again off-again relationships. Everyone thought we were stable. Apparently stability can be one-sided. I was finishing my PhD while he worked for his father's software company. People used to joke that we had the perfect arrangement. He made money, I collected degrees. Neither of us minded. Or, I thought neither of us did. That morning started at 8. By noon I would defended my dissertation. It was not perfect, but it was enough. One of the professors actually laughed when he shook my hand. "Dr. Harper," I remember answering, "that still sounds like someone else." He smiled. "Get used to it." I wish that had been the biggest thing that happened that day. It was not even close. After the defense, I walked 3 blocks to a publishing office. The meeting was supposed to last maybe 30 minutes. It lasted almost 2 hours. Apparently, my dissertation had attracted attention because it mixed creative writing with behavioral psychology and sibling identity. Yes, ironically, it was literally about siblings. Life has a sick sense of humor. The editor slid a folder across the table. "We would like to publish it." I honestly thought she meant academically. Instead, she kept talking. Then she mentioned another contract, then 2 books, then an advance. I stared at the number for so long she asked if I needed water. "Oh," I laughed. "I think I need someone to tell me this is not a prank." She laughed too. "It is not." When I walked out of that office, I called my husband 3 times. No answer. I figured he was working. Then I had my doctor's appointment, nothing exciting, just routine blood work after 2 positive tests, except the doctor looked at the computer a little longer than I expected. Nobody wants their doctor to say I asked, "Is something wrong?" "No," she smiled. Actually, the opposite. She explained that my hormone levels were unusually high. It did not guarantee anything, but it made multiple babies more likely. She wanted another scan in a couple weeks. I walked out laughing to myself. Twins, imagine that, considering my family history. It almost made sense. I stopped at a children's boutique on the way back and bought the smallest socks I would ever seen. The cashier smiled. "Gift," I nodded. "Kind of. My identical twin sister was in town." That sentence alone probably explains a lot. People hear identical twin and immediately picture best friends who finish each other's sentences. That was not us. Not even as kids. We looked alike. That was where the similarities ended. Olivia loved attention. I hated it. She loved cameras. I hid in libraries. She became a model. I became the person writing books no one notices until years later. Our mother adored her. That was not jealousy talking. Even my dad admitted it once. He said, "Your mom just understands Olivia better." Translation, she always chose Olivia. Always. Around 3 I got a text from my husband. "Heading to your parents' place now. Your mom wants help hanging those shelves before dinner. Nothing unusual there." My mother constantly called him whenever she needed something fixed. Light bulbs, Wi-Fi, furniture, TV remote. If something plugged into a wall, somehow my husband got the call. 5 minutes later, my best friend Emma texted. She also happened to be my husband's twin sister. Yes, we were one of those weird families with 2 sets of twins. Emma already knew about my dissertation defense. She would practically been more nervous than I was. "Call me." I did. She answered on the first ring. "So?" I passed. She screamed actually screamed. People turned around to look at me. Then I told her about the publishing deal. She screamed again. Then I mentioned the pregnancy. Silence. "Emma?" She started crying. "Oh my God. You have to tell Ethan tonight." "I know. I am coming." "You do not have to. I am already putting shoes on." That was Emma. There was never really another answer. I remember thinking how perfect everything felt. Looking back, that's probably the happiest hour of my adult life. I had a career, a baby, a husband waiting at my parents' house, dinner with family. Even Olivia being home somehow did not bother me. I actually thought, maybe we would finally act like sisters. Maybe adulthood had changed us. Maybe she would grown up. That thought lasted another 23 minutes. Emma pulled into my parents' driveway exactly as I did. She rolled her window down. "You ready to make him cry?" I laughed. "If he cries before I do." "Oh, he's absolutely crying." We grabbed the gift bag together and walked toward the front door. Something immediately felt off. No music, no voices, no smell of dinner. My parents' golden retriever usually attacked guests with affection before they even knocked. He was not there. The front door was not locked. Mom, no answer. Dad, nothing. Emma frowned. "That's weird." I shrugged. "They are probably in the backyard." We walked through the kitchen. Empty. Dining room, empty. Living room, empty. Then, a laugh, female upstairs, followed by a man's voice. Emma smiled. "They are probably helping Olivia unpack." Maybe, except something in my stomach tightened. I still cannot explain it. People always ask if I somehow knew. No, I did not know, but I remember stopping halfway up the stairs for absolutely no reason. Emma looked back. "What?" "I do not know. You okay?" "Yeah." Another laugh, closer now. Then, my husband's voice, low, soft. The kind of voice people do not use in normal conversations. Emma looked at me. Her smile disappeared. "You hear that?" I nodded. Neither of us spoke again. We reached the guest room. The door was not completely closed, just barely touching the frame. I remember hearing someone whisper, "Your wife will never find out." Then, my mother laughed, not inside the room, somewhere farther down the hallway, and she said one sentence that still wakes me up some nights. "Relax." I made sure she would come late. Emma slowly reached for the doorknob. Neither of us was breathing anymore. Then she pushed the door open. The first thing I noticed was not my husband. It was the baby socks. The little white gift bag had slipped out of my hand when Emma pushed the door open, and it landed on the hardwood floor with a soft thud. The tissue paper spilled out before I even looked up. Then I looked. Ethan was lying on the guest bed, shirtless. Olivia was straddling him. Neither of them moved. It was not one of those movie moments where people jump apart in panic. No, they looked annoyed that we would interrupted them. Emma was the first one to speak. "What the hell?" Her voice cracked somewhere between rage and disbelief. Ethan's head snapped toward us. His face went completely white. "Jill." Olivia slowly turned around, looked at me for maybe 2 seconds, and then, God, I still hate remembering Thish smiled. Not because she was embarrassed, because she would won. She climbed off him as casually as someone getting up from the couch after watching a movie. "Oh," she said, "you are early." Early, like I would interrupted a dinner reservation. I could not make myself speak. My brain refused to accept what my eyes were seeing. I remember staring at Ethan's wedding ring lying on the bedside table. That bothered me more than the fact that he was not wearing any clothes. He would taken it off, deliberately, like that somehow made this less wrong. Emma was not frozen. She marched straight into the room. "Ethan, nothing." I said, "Look at me." He finally stood up, grabbing a blanket around his waist. "It is not." Emma slapped him. Hard enough that I heard it echo off the walls. "I do not even know who you are." He did not defend himself, did not yell, did not get angry. He just looked at me. "Jill, please." That was the first time I actually looked him in the eyes. He was not sorry because he would cheated. He was sorry because I would caught him. There's a difference. I did not understand that until much later. Olivia walked over to the dresser like none of this involved her. She picked up her phone, checked a notification, then started brushing her hair with her fingers. "You guys are making this way more dramatic than it needs to be." Emma stared at her. "Excuse me." "It happened." She shrugged. "Adults have sex." I finally found my voice. "With your sister's husband?" She looked at me like I would asked whether the sky was blue. I did not make vows. I actually laughed, one short laugh, mostly because my brain had stopped working. "So that's your defense?" "I am just saying." She shrugged again. "He came willingly." I looked at Ethan. He immediately shook his head. "No, that's not." Olivia interrupted. "Seriously?" She laughed. "Now you are pretending?" He did not answer. That silence told me everything. Then I heard footsteps, my mother. She walked into the room carrying 2 glasses of lemonade, actually humming until she saw us. "Oh," she stopped. "I thought you would be another half hour." Nobody said anything. Emma finally pointed toward the bed. "You knew." Mom looked confused. "Knew what?" Emma almost laughed. "They are naked." "Oh," she sighed. "So you found out, like we would discovered someone had ordered takeout." I stared at her. "You knew." She looked at me with genuine confusion. "I arranged it." I honestly think my heart stopped for a second. "What?" She set the glasses down on the dresser. "Do not look at me like that." "You arranged this?" I invited Ethan over. Emma actually stepped between us. "What is wrong with you?" Mom folded her arms. "I was trying to help." Help, that's the word she chose. She turned toward me. You have been buried in school for years. I was finishing my doctorate. And, you hardly spend any time with your husband. I could not believe this conversation was real. I live with him. You coexist. She corrected me. There's a difference. Emma looked like she wanted to throw something. Mom continued. Olivia understands men. I blinked. I am sorry. What? You have always been. She searched for the word. Academic. Olivia smiled behind her. Mom kept talking. You read books. You write papers. You stay home. She's exciting. I could not stop staring at her. She was not angry. She was not yelling. She genuinely believed she was making sense. Then she said something I will never forget. I figured if Ethan got it out of his system, he would appreciate you more. Silence, complete silence. Even Olivia stopped smiling. Even she seemed surprised Mom had actually said it out loud. Dad appeared in the hallway. He looked from Mom to Ethan. To me, nobody moved. His shoulders dropped. What happened? Mom answered before anyone else could. They are overreacting. Dad looked at Ethan. Were you sleeping with Olivia? Ethan looked at the floor. Dad nodded once, very slowly. I see. That was all he said, just, I see. Then he turned around and walked away. No yelling, no threats, nothing. Somehow that hurt more. Ethan stepped toward me. Please let me explain. I backed away instinctively. Do not. I made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting milk. His eyes filled with tears. This was not supposed to happen. I looked at Olivia. How long? Neither of them answered. How long? Olivia answered first. About 4 months. The room disappeared around me. 4 months. I was 12 weeks pregnant. I did the math instantly. I whispered, so while we were trying for a baby, nobody answered. I looked back at Ethan. Were you sleeping with both of us? He started crying, actually crying. Yes. Emma suddenly looked sick. She pulled her phone out of her pocket. I have been recording since I opened the door. Everyone froze. Olivia's face finally changed. Delete it. No, I am serious. I know. Mom walked forward. You cannot post family business online. Emma laughed. Oh, do not worry. I am not thinking about the internet. She looked directly at Ethan. I am thinking about the divorce lawyer. That's when Ethan finally noticed the little gift bag on the floor. He bent down and picked up one of the tiny baby socks. He frowned. What's this? Emma looked at me. I shook my head. Not yet. He did not deserve to hear it like this. But before either of us could say anything, Olivia picked up the second sock, looked at it, then looked at my stomach. Her smile slowly disappeared. Wait, her eyes met mine. Number, Olivia looked from the tiny baby sock to me, then back to Ethan. You are pregnant? Nobody answered. For the first time since I would walked into that room, she actually looked uncomfortable, not guilty, just uncomfortable, like she would suddenly realize this story was not going to end with her getting what she wanted. Ethan stared at the sock in his hand. His mouth opened, closed. Then he whispered, Jill. I still could not look at him. Emma finally broke the silence. Congratulations, idiot. He frowned. What? You just cheated on your pregnant wife. The color completely drained from his face. Number, yes. I did not know. Emma laughed bitterly. You never asked. Ethan looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. Why did not you tell me? I could not believe he would ask that. I was trying to. He looked confused. I defended my dissertation today. Nothing. I signed my publishing contract. Still nothing. I stopped to buy those socks because I wanted to surprise you tonight. His knees actually buckled. He sat down on the edge of the bed and buried his face in his hands. Oh my God. Nobody comforted him, not even Olivia. Mom somehow still thought she could fix this. Everyone just needs to calm down. Emma spun around. Calm down, they are young. Emma stared at her. Did you seriously just say that? Mom sighed dramatically. We'll make mistakes. I finally looked directly at her. You invited my husband here. I did. You knew what was going to happen. I suspected. You left the house, so they would not feel awkward. Every sentence somehow made things worse. I honestly think she expected me to forgive everyone before dessert. Dad came back a minute later. This time he was not alone. He had his truck keys in one hand, his wallet in the other. He walked straight over to me. Come on. That was it. Just, come on, Mom frowned. Where are you taking her? Dad did not even look at her. Away. You cannot just, I can. His voice was not loud, it was quiet. I would almost never heard him speak like that. Then he turned toward Ethan. I trusted you. Ethan could not even meet his eyes. Dad nodded once. I will not make that mistake again. As we started walking downstairs, Mom called after me. So you are really throwing your marriage away over one mistake? I stopped. Not because I wanted to answer, because I would suddenly remembered something. I turned back toward Ethan. How many times? Silence. Ethan, he whispered. I do not know. That hurt more than if he would said 50, because I do not know meant he would stopped counting. Emma inhaled sharply. Oh my God. I looked at Olivia. How long has this been going on? She leaned against the doorway. A few months. That's not what I asked. She rolled her eyes. We kissed the first time at Christmas. Christmas? My stomach twisted. Christmas was at his parents' house, while I was helping Emma's kids build a gingerbread house. I remembered wondering why Ethan had disappeared for almost half an hour. He would said he would been helping Dad in the garage. Apparently, he had not. As we walked downstairs, another memory hit me. Hard. About 6 months earlier, I would come home unexpectedly because one of my classes had been canceled. Ethan had jumped when I walked in. His phone had disappeared into his pocket almost instantly. I teased him. What are you hiding? He smiled. Birthday ideas. My birthday was not for another 4 months. I would actually believed him. Looking back, there were dozens of moments like that. Late-night messages, random business trips, extra gym sessions, working weekends. I had not ignored red flags. I would painted them green because I trusted him. There's a difference. Dad drove. Emma followed behind us in her SUV. Nobody talked for almost 10 minutes. Finally, Dad cleared his throat. Where do you want to go? I had not even thought about it. Home? That was not home anymore. My parents' house? Definitely not. A hotel? Maybe. Then Emma called. Dad put her on speaker. My parents said to come straight there. Dad nodded. Good idea. Ethan called before we even got there. The phone rang. Again. I watched his name fill the screen 6 times before Dad quietly reached over and muted my phone. You do not owe him a conversation today. I nodded. A minute later, another call. This time, Mom, blocked. Then Olivia, blocked. Then Ethan again, blocked. I wish that had been the end of it. It was not even close. Emma's parents opened the front door before we knocked. Her mother took one look at my face. What happened? I could not answer. I just started crying again. Not dramatic crying. The quiet kind. The kind where your chest hurts because you have been holding everything in for too long. Emma wrapped her arm around me. I will explain. Her father looked toward the living room. No, show me. Emma unlocked her phone. I accidentally recorded everything. She handed it over. The room became completely silent. I watched Ethan's father age about 10 years in 6 minutes. He did not interrupt the video once. Did not ask questions, did not react. He just watched. When it finished, he quietly locked his phone, then stood up. I am calling my attorney. Emma blinked. Dad, he specializes in family law. He looked at me. You are not paying for this. I finally managed to speak. You do not have to. Yes, I do. He looked angrier than I would ever seen him. My son made this mess. We will help you clean it up. About 20 minutes later, we were sitting around their dining table. Nobody had touched the food Emma's mother had put out. Finally, Ethan's father asked quietly, Is there anything else we need to know? I looked at Emma. She looked back at me, then nodded. I reached into my purse, pulled out the second baby sock, and set it on the table. I was going to tell him tonight. Everyone immediately understood. Emma's mother covered her mouth. Oh, sweetheart. Her father looked down at the sock for a long moment, then back at me. How far along? About 12 weeks. He nodded slowly. Then asked the question I would been avoiding asking myself all day. Does Ethan know? Before I could answer, someone started pounding on the front door. Every head in the room turned toward the front door. The pounding did not stop. 3 quick knocks. A pause, then 3 more. Whoever it was not planning to leave. Emma looked through the small glass panel beside the door and muttered, You have got to be kidding me. I did not need to ask. I already knew. Ethan. Her father unlocked the door but did not open it all the way. What do you want? Ethan looked awful. He would thrown on yesterday's jeans and a wrinkled t-shirt. His hair was still wet like he would splashed water on his face, hoping it would somehow erase what had happened. I need to talk to Jill. No, it will only take 5 minutes. No, I just know. Ethan looked over his father's shoulder until he spotted me sitting at the dining table. Jill, please. I did not move. He stepped toward the doorway anyway. His father blocked him with one arm. I said no. Dad, I am not your father right now. That sentence hit Ethan harder than any punch could have. I did not come here to fight, Ethan said quietly. I came to explain. Emma laughed from behind me. You have said that 4 times today. He ignored her. I know what it looks like. I could not help myself. It looks exactly like what it was. He shut his eyes. You are right. Nobody expected that answer, not even me. I do not have an excuse. Then why are you here? He looked at me for a long moment. Because I love you. Those 4 words made something inside me snap. I actually smiled, not because it was funny, because it was unbelievable. You do not get to say that anymore. He rubbed both hands over his face. I know, I made the biggest mistake of my life. When? He frowned. What? When was the mistake? The affair? No. I shook my head. That was not one mistake. Silence. Kissing her was a decision. Meeting her again was another. Lying to me every day was another. Coming back every time was another. I took a breath. You did not accidentally have an affair for 4 months. Nobody spoke. Even his father looked down. Finally, Ethan whispered, "You are right." I kept telling myself I would end it. I looked at him. So why did not you? He hesitated long enough that I already knew I was not going to like the answer. Because every time I tried, Olivia threatened to tell you first. The room went completely still. Emma frowned. What? Ethan nodded. She said if I left, she would make sure Jill found out in the worst possible way. I believed him, not because it excused anything, because it sounded exactly like Olivia. Manipulation had always been her favorite hobby. That did not change the fact that he would chosen to stay. You still could have told me. I know, you had months, I know. You watched me plan a family with you. I know, every answer was the same. I know, it almost made it worse. His father finally spoke. Did she force you into the affair? No, so stop talking about what she threatened. Ethan lowered his head. Yes, sir, you made your own choices. I did, and now you live with them. For a moment, nobody said anything. Then Ethan looked at me again. I found the pregnancy test. Every muscle in my body tightened. What? You left the empty box in the bathroom trash 2 days ago. I froze. I thought maybe. He swallowed. But then I convinced myself I was imagining things. You never asked. I was scared. I almost laughed. You were scared? He nodded. I thought maybe you were going to tell me tonight. I was. He looked at the tiny socks on the dining table. I ruined everything before you had the chance. Emma crossed her arms. You still do not know the worst part. He looked confused. What? The doctor thinks it might be multiples. He stared at me. Twins? I do not know yet. Maybe. He slowly sat down on the porch steps outside, like his legs had simply stopped working. He did not cry, not yet. He just stared at the ground. I wanted kids. His father answered before I could. You should have thought about that yesterday. Then another car pulled into the driveway. Everyone looked outside. A white SUV, expensive, polished, Olivia, of course. She stepped out wearing oversized sunglasses like she was trying to avoid paparazzi. Even now, even after everything, she still looked like she was walking into a photo shoot. She smiled when she saw Ethan. There you are. He did not answer. She frowned. I have been calling you. Nothing. She finally noticed his parents standing in the doorway. Oh, I guess everyone's here. Emma muttered, this should be interesting. Olivia walked toward the house without the slightest hint of embarrassment. I came to clear things up. Her father-in-law, well, almost father-in-law, apparently did not move. You are not coming inside. She laughed. I think that's Jill's decision. No, it's mine. She removed her sunglasses. I think you are being unfair. That sentence actually stunned me. Unfair. She would slept with her sister's husband for months. And somehow she believed she was the victim. Then she looked directly at Ethan. So, when are you telling them? He frowned. Telling them what? She smiled. Our news. I felt my stomach drop. Ethan looked genuinely confused. What are you talking about? She blinked. Seriously? You forgot. He slowly stood up. Olivia, what news? She stared at him for several seconds, then her confident expression disappeared. You did not tell her. He looked even more confused. Tell her what? For the first time all day, Olivia looked nervous, real nervous. She looked at me, then back at Ethan, then quietly asked, You seriously thought I came here just because I wanted an affair? For a second, nobody spoke. Even the birds outside seemed to disappear. Ethan looked genuinely confused. What are you talking about? Olivia stared at him. I am talking about London. He frowned. What about it? She laughed once. Not because anything was funny, because she thought he was pretending. You proposed. Every head turned toward Ethan. He blinked. No, you literally asked me if I wanted to move to London with you. I asked if you wanted to come with me because you had work there. You said we would start over. I said maybe we should disappear for a while. Exactly. He rubbed both hands across his face. No, Olivia, not exactly. I never proposed. She stood there staring at him. You bought the ring. My heart skipped. Ring? What ring? Ethan looked completely lost. What ring? The one in Chicago. I bought my wife a ring. No, you bought me one. Emma suddenly looked at me. Chicago, I remembered. 6 weeks earlier, Ethan had flown to Chicago for what he called a software conference. He would come home with nothing except an expensive bottle of whiskey for his dad. I remembered teasing him. So the conference gift shop sold alcohol? He would laughed. Apparently, that was not the only thing he would bought. I never bought you a ring. Olivia crossed her arms. You left it in my apartment. My what? The blue box. His expression changed, not guilt, recognition. Oh, he looked absolutely sick. Oh, number, I frowned. What? He looked at me. I lost your anniversary ring. Silence. The replacement. 3 months earlier, I would noticed my engagement ring felt loose after losing weight. Ethan insisted on taking it to a jeweler. A week later, he told me someone had stolen his backpack from his rental car during that Chicago trip. The ring had supposedly been inside. He would apologized for days. We would even filed an insurance claim. I remembered hugging him, telling him, it's just jewelry. He whispered, I did not lose it. I stared. What? I forgot it. Olivia folded her arms triumphantly. I told you. Ethan looked at me. I accidentally left the jeweler's bag at her apartment. I could not even process that sentence. You were bringing my ring? To your mistress? His shoulders collapsed. No, I stopped there afterward. It was still in the car. I forgot. You forgot. I repeated the words slowly. You accidentally drove my wedding ring to another woman's apartment. He nodded once. Yes, I laughed. I could not help it. Not a happy laugh. The kind people make when reality becomes too ridiculous to process. Olivia was not laughing anymore. She looked angry. So all those things you said. He interrupted. I never said I was leaving Jill. You absolutely did. I said I did not know what to do. You said your marriage was over. I said I was afraid it would be. Same thing. No, they are completely different. For the first time, they started arguing with each other instead of defending themselves. Emma quietly leaned toward me. I think they are finally being honest. She was right. Cheaters lie well together until they have to compare stories. Olivia pointed at Ethan. You told me Jill did not understand you. I said we were drifting apart. You said she cared more about books than about you. I said she was busy finishing her doctorate. You said she barely touched you anymore. He closed his eyes. I never said that. You implied it. I absolutely did not. She looked around the driveway. Are you seriously rewriting history now? He answered quietly, no. I am finally remembering it correctly. His father stepped outside. Enough. Nobody listened. Olivia kept going. You promised we would travel together. I asked if you wanted to come because you had campaigns there. You told me we would have a future. I said I did not know what my future looked like. You let me believe it. Ethan did not answer, because that part was probably true. He had not lied. He would just let her hear what she wanted to hear. Then something clicked inside my head. A memory, about 2 months earlier. I would been organizing our finances. There would been several hotel charges on Ethan's business credit card. Nothing outrageous, just odd, wrong dates, wrong cities. When I would ask him about one of them, he would smiled. The accounting department booked the wrong hotel. I had accepted that answer. Now, I looked straight at him. The Seattle conference. His eyes met mine immediately. Yes, there was not one. He shook his head. No, the Denver client dinner. No, the Austin training weekend. Another shake of his head. Emma quietly whispered, oh my God. I was not discovering one affair. I was discovering an entirely fictional version of our marriage. Olivia suddenly frowned. Wait. She looked at Ethan. You told Jill you were traveling for work? He nodded. She looked genuinely confused. I thought your company knew about us. His father answered before Ethan could. We knew nothing. She blinked, but he said he was staying in company hotels. His father looked at Ethan with an expression I would never seen before, not anger, disappointment, deep disappointment. You used the company account? Ethan slowly nodded. Sometimes. His father's face went pale. Do you have any idea what you have done? Ethan frowned. What? Those were not personal cards. Silence. They belonged to the company. I watched realization spread across Ethan's face. Number. His father looked him dead in the eyes. You did not just destroy your marriage. You may have committed fraud. Nobody said a word. Then his father reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, opened the company banking app. His expression changed almost immediately. He looked back up at Ethan, very quietly. How much money did you spend? Ethan did not answer. His father turned the screen toward him, then whispered something that made my blood run cold. Who authorized the additional $93,000? The story has come to an end. Share, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel grow.